it's Candus, and in today's QuickBooks tips and tricks, we're jumping in to the 5th video in this series. So if you missed it, I'm creating an 8-part video series on really understanding the mindset behind QuickBooks. It does have the technical area of it, but it also has a lot more than that, and I hope you're really enjoying it. If you missed any of the videos, you can check out my YouTube, my website, or there's a link below where you can get them all emailed to you as they are available, depending on when you're seeing this video. So if you don't know who I am, I'm Candace Kampfer. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I am the creator of Confidence with QuickBooks, QuickBooks e-course, and I've been teaching QuickBooks for over 8 years. I work with clients one-on-one and through my courses. So I'm happy you're here. Today we are jumping into bank reconciliations. This is vitally important. Like, hold the phone, people, get out your notepad and write this one down. Bank reconciliations. Do them, do them, do them. Whether you are getting your reconciliation every month, your bank statement, and you're entering them in and then reconciling it, or if you're at the end of the year and you're starting back at January, it does not matter. You need to reconcile your bank account. Now, if you've been using QuickBooks for years and you've never reconciled and your stuff is inaccurate, then really what you need to do is, the easiest thing is to create a new bank account in QuickBooks. Just be honest with you. And you can decide to either do that in the current year, or since it's almost end of the year, you could technically start a new bank account in 2016, start fresh, start new. If you need help doing that, feel free to contact me, but that's what I would recommend. So what we're gonna do is you're gonna get your bank statement out, and you are going to just start, make sure everything is entered. That's the point of the reconciliation. It's to make sure that if you're getting bank service fees, or you forgot a deposit, you went, oh, I'll go back and do that later, or a check, oh, I'll go back and do that later, that now you know everything's entered. And this is where, when your tax professional says to you, hey, did you reconcile your account? You can go, yes, I did, and everything's in there. I know it's right. That is the amazing benefit of this. And believe me, it is well worth it. So thank you for trusting me. Thank you for being here. Let's go jump in and learn how to reconcile. All right, so I am in a QuickBooks sample file to teach you how to reconcile. It looks a little different than some of the other ones we've done so far in this video series, but this is what you're gonna do. Is you're gonna grab, the first thing you do is you're gonna grab your bank statement. And so you'll see this is what an example of a bank statement looks like. And this is the bank statement we're actually going to reconcile from. So you see that it says business checking on the top. It says January 31st, 2018. Because it's a sample file, we're going to go out a couple years. You see a previous balance, total deposits, checks, all that kind of stuff in there. So this is what you're going to do. You're going to grab it. You need to have all of the information already entered. And then you go in and reconcile. This is, as I said in the video, vitally important, because if you don't do this, it's very possible that there'll be things missing and you won't get to take all of your deductions for your taxes, and your books will just not be accurate. So first thing you're going to do is you're going to go over here and click on Reconcile. Then you're going to drop down and you're going to choose which account you can reconcile, or you want to reconcile. And since it's the business checking account, we are going to select it right here, business checking. Then you'll notice it says the last reconciled date was December 31st, 2017. You'll notice on this bank statement, it says that it is January 1st, 2018. And you'll notice the beginning balance on the statement says $17,385.30, and that matches QuickBooks right here. Now, this is the first step. If you need to make sure you have the right bank account, you need to make sure you have the right date, and then you need to make sure your amount matches. If your amount doesn't match, you either don't have the right account, or you've gone in and deleted or changed some transactions, and you need to know what those are. The next step is then to enter what your ending balance is, and you'll notice on the statement it says $14,070.26. Next, you'll look and see if there are any service charges on your bank statement. On this one, there's a $5 service charge, so you could put the service charge in here, or you can enter it in under write checks or the check register, whichever you prefer. If you do it right now, you won't forget it. So I think that's a benefit. You're going to pick the date of the service charge, which was the 31st. You're going to choose which expense account you want it to go to. For this example, we're using bank service charges. That's what I'd recommend for you as well. And then if you have classes, you'd pick the class that it goes to. Typically, I'd recommend having one actually called business, but that's a whole nother thing, so we won't talk about that too much today. Then you're going to go down and you're going to look on your bank statement and see if you have any interest. You may or you may not. If you don't have a service charge and you don't have interest, you'll leave those just at 0. If you do have interest, you'll put the dollar amount, the date, and the account you wanted to go to. It's an income account or other income. You'll see that right here. And then it also has a class that they're putting it to. If you have any problems, you can always click on Locate Discrepancies. If this beginning balance is off, you can click that and it will give you some reports that you can look at. Let me go back in. Let me re-put this in real quick. I had clicked cancel. And you're gonna, if you have a problem, you can always undo your last reconciliation, but you wanna be careful because if you keep undoing them, you could end up having some complications. So if you have any problems during this, feel free to contact me. Click continue. And what you'll see is on the top left, it tells you the time frame date. So you wanna make sure that's correct. And then to the left side, you see all your checks and payments. On the right side, you see all your deposits or credits. Now, this is an amazing trick, so pay attention. If you are way, way, way behind on your reconciliation, like you haven't done the whole year, but you have some stuff entered, what you want to do is click this little box right here. It says hide transaction after statement date. So as long as your statement date is accurate, if you check mark this, you'll notice down here, only the transactions up to the statement date show up. So what happens is if you haven't ever reconciled your account or it's been a long time, all year long you've been doing your data entry, but you haven't taken the time to reconcile, you could have a lot of transactions. So this little box will be a lifesaver for you. That's a little tip. So then the next step is I recommend you look at your statement and you go along your statement. So if your statement, like this one, where your deposits are first, I actually recommend reconciling your deposits first, then going to the checks below it. That way you're staying in order of the reconciliation. So you'll notice that it says the first deposit was $1,709.53. You check mark that, and I recommend actually grab a pencil and you check mark right next to that as well on your statement. You go to the next one, you match it, and you check it. So these little check marks need to happen. And you'll notice down here at the bottom, now it has your deposits and other credits as $4,557.80. And you'll notice that that does not match exactly what it says at the top of your statement. The difference is you'll notice the $3.28 of interest. But where it does match is right below the statement, on the statement where it says 2 deposits, $4,557.80, that matches. So you're good to go. The next step is you go over and you look at your checks or payments. Now you may have ATM transactions and it might say ATM here or be blank or say debit, and that is okay. You just want to make sure that whatever it says on your statement, it matches. So if you forgot to put a check number in or your check number's off, you can fix that. So you'll notice the first one is check number 325 and it is $324. Now you'll notice that the date here says December 26th and the date on the statement says January 2nd. So this date that's showing up here to the left is the date that you created the transaction in QuickBooks, and the date on the statement is the date that it cleared. Okay, so whatever, as long as the date inside QuickBooks doesn't exceed the date on your statement, then you're fine. Okay, so you just keep going. You look for the next one, the $276.52, check number 326. The next one, $128.60, check number 327. Then you'll notice a couple little dots on the bank statement. That just means that the check numbers have changed. Check 6001 for $3,000. Check 6003 for $142. And you'll notice down here at the bottom, it says $3,871.12, and that's exactly what the statement says. It says 5 checks paid, $3,871.12. So you'll notice that you only check mark the checks that cleared. The ones that have not cleared, you leave them alone for now. Now, if you get to the end of the year and you have some old checks that never cleared, one, you want to verify. These are some little tips. So one, you want to verify, did those checks ever actually clear? Did I duplicate them? Do I need to reissue them? Like, what's actually going on? And then depending on what that is, you need to take care of it within QuickBooks, okay? So that's basically what you're checking. And then the next thing you want to see is you'll see that there to the right, it says other withdrawals and payments of $4,000. And that one is right here on January 31st, $4,000. So you check mark that. Payments are all match. You go down here to the bottom, and that matches the statement, $7,876.12 at the very top of the statement, your total that came out. You'll notice it's actually off by $5, and that $5 is your service fee, but it still matches. The biggest thing you want to check for is right here to the side. It says difference, 0. If your reconciliation ever says anything other than 0, what I would like you to do is I actually want you to go back and check it, because it should never be anything but 0. So what you would go back and check is you would go back and check, oh, did I have a service charge? Did I have interest? Was my beginning balance, which is right here to the left, correct? Did that match my statement? Did I put the ending balance in correct? Like, what is off? And if you cannot figure it out, have somebody else's eyes look at it for you. Because if this is off by even a couple dollars and you just hit reconcile, it'll go in and make an adjustment. But what that really means is you're missing something within QuickBooks. And I highly, highly, highly recommend that you never click reconcile unless it's 0, because it just throws everything off. And then later down the road, you'll realize you missed a check or you missed a credit card payment or something. So just make sure it always says 0. And that's really as easy as it is. To do your reconciliations, you want to be reconciling your bank account every month. You want to reconcile your credit cards every month. And if you have any loans, you also want to be reconciling those every month. If at any time you've done your reconciliation and you just can't get it to balance, I recommend actually clicking unmark all and going back and redoing them. The check marks, if you put a little check mark next to what you've done while you're reconciling, if you get distracted or whatever, it'll allow you to make sure that you didn't miss anything. Always go back, look at your bank statement, make sure there's a check mark next to everything, make sure that your pennies, your cents, your dollars, like everything is right. So you can unmark it. If you have a problem and you want to go look at it, you can either double click it or click the go to, and that'll actually take you over to where you did the transaction. So if you need to make an adjustment, you accidentally entered the number in wrong, you can. If when you go to clear it, where this says to be printed is actually on your statement, you can actually double click on that, change your check number, which we don't need to do because it's not on this statement. You'll notice that these are highlighted when they're check marked, and that has to do with this box here to the left. So if you want them highlighted or you don't want them highlighted, that's up to you. I prefer them highlighted so I know what's been checked. And I really think that's pretty much most of what you're going to need to know. If there's anything I've missed, feel free to let me know. The next step is to click Reconcile. If you ever have a problem, you can actually just click Leave. And this is just like QuickBooks offering to let you know that you can try their online banking and management. That's up to you. I'll just click OK. I don't normally do that. So then they give you 3 options to print your bank reconciliation out of QuickBooks. 1, a summary format. 2, a detail, or the third one is one of both. I personally typically only keep the detail for the fact that I feel like everything is already on the statement. But if you're the kind of person who wants detail, some of the things that will also print is any transactions beyond your statement date. So if you're going way far back, you could have quite a few pages. So that's up to you. You can always display them to see what they look like. And this is what they look like. This is the reconciliation summary. So it tells you what was your beginning balance, all your checks, all your deposits. You'll notice those match what your bank statement says exactly. Anything that's uncleared, and then any new transactions. So that's what that one looks like, and then what your ending balance was. Okay, and then the next one, this is what the detail looks like, and this just gives you a lot more detail of which ones you check marked, and then this is the detail of all the things uncleared. So that's why I'm saying if you're way far behind, this could end up being quite a few pages. So that's up to you on what you need. And that's it. You can print those and you're done. I recommend taking your paper that you just printed off your printer, stapling it to your bank reconciliation, and sticking it in your bank file folder. So I recommend always having a file folder for your bank account, filing everything away. And I do recommend it being in paper. You could scan it and keep it digitally, but that way you can always go back and look at it if you ever need to go back and verify a check has actually cleared. So I hope this tip has been beneficial. If you know somebody who could benefit from it, please share it. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you want all of the tips in the Mind series set of videos, feel free to go to CandusCampfer.com, and there is a link, and I'll also put a link below where you can get all of these sent to you along with all the tips and tricks I do each week. In the next video in this series, we are going to talk about the banking center as far as credit cards. How do you enter them? How do you reconcile them? And how do you apply your credit card payments? Have a great day. I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye.